You and Calcazar did so many terrible things in pursuit of your ambitions. Tell me, was it worth it? It is always worth it. You will understand it yourself. The wound on reality is healed and the vision of Theodora quickly fades away. You catch your last words. Whatever fate you choose, one can only hope it will be better than mine. Think about the Satan. Mental contact is effortless. This is not communication. Such a powerful being cannot comprehend communicating with anyone but its equals. It simply bears the gift of making the other hear and understand it. Try to comprehend what it is. It's the pinnacle of reality. It is eternity, dominance, omnipotence, individuality. The Satan is the original purpose behind all existence. The rest was born in order to contain, nourish, and be appropriated by the Satan. Good God. The Satan space is an illusory variable. To the Satan, time is a young and trivial phenomenon, for it existed for an eternity in the gaseous energy font of the universe before time was eventually born. To the Satan, fact and probability are mere abstractions between which it can soar on its electromagnetic wings. Currently, the Satan is not whole. It was shattered into lesser pieces, and so were its thoughts and powers. The feeling of emptiness is oppressive, and it yearns to become one again. Oh, so this isn't even like a real Satan. This is just like some weird little fragment. I know this feeling, Xenos. Try and feel the motives. The Satan wishes to be. All Satan exists to spread and conquer, not to stay manacled with it on time, or was entombed by the contemptible sentient tools, away from all that is. The Satan wishes to ascend, sate its hunger, and embrace once more the pure exhilaration of claiming and taming reality. Try to understand what benefits the Satan promises. Power, eternity, and comprehension. Oh, fun. Okay. The Satan can grant everything. Do not listen, reject the promises. Do not allow your mind to be clouded, Ellen Talk. No one is capable of receiving everything or granting everything. Nomos. If our birth ever had a purpose, then it is here and now. Why do you call the shard your precursor? Because that's what it is and what we are. We have told you before about Theodora's ambition, Armanat's mind, the ship's cradle, the epitaph's secret. One sprouted into another and spurned yet another. Thus Nomos were born. We were but an echo of the shard's power, an echo that left its prison. We have become something so much more with your help. So you brought a shard of the Satan shard here. You amaze me, rogue trader. It is our precursor, but we are not its shard. What do you intend to do? Clash with the precursor, touch it, absorb it, so that the reflection becomes the object reflected, so that the shard becomes Nomos, and then only then will the threat be eradicated forever. If your pet takes so much as a step towards a shard, you may consider our alliance broken. The shard will be placed under the yoke, and as for the creature, I will destroy it as soon as my work here is complete. You think you can do this, Nomos? What will happen after? You stand at that threshold of possibility and outside the bounds of the predictable. It is beyond possible to know whether we can or cannot. But we believe that we can. It is what drives us to try. We will attain power beyond compare. We will become a shield against any threat, no matter in what form it may manifest itself. I have made my decision. Face Nomos, act now, my child. We are ready for the most important battle of our life. Wish us luck. Nomos steps towards the shard, and the whole world explodes into a terrifying whirlwind. You can hear the colors and see the touches. Ice burns your hands while fire leaves you freezing. And in the midst of this madness, you can clearly sense a battle raging, a clash of two beings, one endlessly ancient and the other endlessly young. Oh, is this the secret ending? Awesome, dude. The secret Nomos ending? One second. Oh, whoop. Okay. The power of the Satan shard is such that it redefines the very notion of power, but it has a weakness, one that you can see only now, with the shard and its rival standing face to face. The shard is just that, a shard. It is incomplete, it is not whole, and it cannot be what the Satan was before. What opposes the shard is something entirely different, an undivided sentient being with a clear purpose in mind, akin to a well-aimed arrow. And the one who fletched this arrow and set it airborne was you. The battle goes on and on and on, outrunning the course of time, but you don't need the gift of clairvoyance to know who will emerge victorious. What a sound effect. Ah! You have finished the game! We did it! We did it! Oh my lord, dude. Woo! The Satan Shard was transmuted into a new form, and their name was Nomos. Possessing the power of an ancient being and nurtured by the rogue trader, the young star god watched over the Coronis Expanse, their new domain, with curiosity. Gathering its bleeding worlds together again, the rogue trader dared to build something more noble and civilized in the Expanse. A haven for those drifting and unprotected in the strict hierarchy of the Imperium. It would be an unbound frontier where freedom and compassion were not wholly extinct. The Shackle monster under the Von Valancia's control ensured the survival of the fledgling utopia. The Star God destroyed all who threatened its peaceful civilians and instilled fear in those of little faith. The Expanse tasted the sweet fruit of freedom and tolerated with reverent fear. We spent this game creating an entity to destroy an ancient god and then use it to rule. Warhammer 40K is awesome. Like that was like what an incredibly amazing premise. I just love it. That is so cool. The Shackle monster. Oh, we already read this. Okay. The Imperium could not forgive such insolent deviation from the order prescribed by Holy Terra. The Von Valancia's dynasty was accused of the seditious formation of their own empire. An invasion fleet gathered in the Calixis sector, and the lifespan of the young utopia was as short as its creators. Oh. Whoops. Pretending the young kingdom of freedom Nomos created dimensional barriers that cut the Coronis Expanse off from the Imperium more soundly than the Great Rift. The humanity of the Expanse was left in isolation, relying only on themselves, either had to build something new and different from the Imperium or fall to the horrors lurking in the darkness. The ideals that Cohh Von Valancius was committed to were alien to the Imperium, but were close at heart to many of the Expanse. Anyone who could not resolve a dispute or who was denied justice rushed to the palace of the rogue trader in search of mercy. Interesting. So, wow, we literally got cut off from the Imperium. Is that a bad ending? Not really. I mean, you don't really have like a good ending in Warhammer 40K, so... Yeah, seeded. Yeah, it's a seeded. So heresy? Kind of? Having learned a bitter lesson... I mean, honestly, the Imperium's kind of horrible, so, you know... I mean, yeah. I've learned a bitter lesson on Footfall, and Cindy Corda let go of her fanatical zeal. Relinquishing the reins of power, she secluded herself on a cloister world. The time of purge is past, and with it the time of law and order. In the power vacuum that followed the dark legacy of the abominable Aspis reared its ugly head, and Incendia's domain gradually devolved into a nest of criminals and pirates. Sounds about right. Resisting the temptations that besieged him, Caligos Winterscale returned to his domain and began to piece together the shattered remains of his protectorate. Until his dying day, his actions and thoughts were dedicated to saving abandoned worlds and protecting survivors. Alas, he was not able to achieve much in his time he was allotted. He breathed his last breath on the same throne he refused to leave for decades, adamantly refusing augmetics that would restore mobility and power to his legs. Oh. The cult of St. Drusus continued its indefatigable struggle to spread the faith around the Expanse and expose avowed transgressions to the authorities. The stronger and wealthier a planet was, the less its rulers wanted to see the black-clad preachers. Riots and assassinations pushed the cult to a place where it felt most confident, the frontier. After the death of Reverend Ermonius Doloroso, a man named Chaplain took over the leadership of the Drusian mission. He hid his name, but not his crimes or his piratical past. With the resolve of an experienced voidfarer, he steered the cult and even led his fellow believers on military expeditions against brigands, enforcing order and converting depraved captives to the faith. The deal struck by the Connaissance fleet and the Von Valancius dynasty replenished the exploratories' dwindling supplies and allowed them to re-embark on a rapid and unrelenting expansion campaign. With powerful bases established in the Expanse, the omniscience scouts bravely ventured forth towards unnamed stars with the same drive that propelled their ancestors to explore the Expanse itself. The schism of discontinuing the cycle engulfed the entire Connaissance fleet, and soon the Civil War was over. Disregarding the commandments of their forebears, the explorators started down a dangerous path of new comprehension, creation, and revision of procedures and algorithms. Their fleet was united once more, and in its unity, it was ready to stare down any horror standing in the way of the catechism of maintenance and operation. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Here, we can do this now. Boop. Oh, I think I missed a thing. I'll have to look at that later. Crisis in the Expanse dealt a serious blow to the business interests of the Fellowship of the Void. Having no powerful allies, they retreated into the darkness of frontier systems. The hard life they faced there forged them into a new tribe, furious, wild, and willing to do anything for survival. They swore to return and retake once they had once been theirs. Yeah, can somebody do a quick clip of Opticon 22? We'll read that back real quick. The first command Ryza issued after her miraculous rescue on Footfall was a complete extermination of all worshippers of the Dark Gods among the Fellowship of the Void. The old pirates wanted to find another way for her people to survive. The former renegades hoped to live by the law, working as mercenaries and traders. When it seemed like they were finally on the path to a peaceful life, the Imperial Navy conducted a flash raid and destroyed all their ships. Those who survived the bloodbath were publicly hanged. Okay. Well. Violence throughout the Expanse put many on their guard, and as a result, the Casbolica mission business declined. Soon, rumors surfaced among the cold traders about a so-called commission that had been made it through the Maw and into the Expanse. Its professed purpose was to audit assets and take measures to restructure operations. His words carried with them an ominous threat. Adam Takar, as Liege of Footfall, survived 14 assassination attempts and thwarted no less than 2,000 schemers before a shot finally took his life. The esteemed Liege's funeral was held in great secrecy, with only his closest entourage being permitted to view his corpse, which spawned some peculiar rumors. A multitude of agreements bound the Imperial Navy to the Von Valancius dynasty. Captains were eager to patrol the Protectorate, knowing they would be richly rewarded. Competing ships were lost to pirate attacks and subjected to harsh inspections. Many officers quietly entered the dynasty's service, receiving a salary and title in exchange for their excellent skills. Worthy admirals valued their new friends and enjoyed more gold on their uniform. Chartist Captain Asterius Thorfast founded the Thorfast and Companion Merchant Company, excelling in trade and acquiring a substantial escort fleet. After 3 decades, he traveled to the Maw to return to the Imperium in hopes of obtaining the fabled warrant of trade. It is not known how this venture ended. Okay. Some of these seem a little, like, conflicting, but that's okay. There's a lot. When the rogue traders' apostasy became apparent, the Imperial Navy fulfilled its duty and fought the Van Valancius dynasty. The Battle of Darkonis ended in resounding defeat, and the surviving ships fled to distant systems. Disheartened but not broken, the captain vowed to rebuild their force and planned raids in the apostate territory. Crucial reason for the defeat was the extraordinarily high percentage of captains who betrayed their oaths and defected to the rogue trader's side. Overnight, he acquired a battle-ready fleet of his own. Oh, that's great. Argonis grew and prospered until it became the capital of the Coronis Expanse. The planet was like a giant magnet whose pull held together the worlds of the Expanse, absorbing the treasures and vices of the sector. Humanity was exploring the Expanse, and Argonis became the capital for the brave starfarers and pioneers. It was from here the expeditions departed into the uncharted wilderness, and when they returned bearing wondrous trophies, captains, cartographers, and scribes flocked here to exchange news. Kiavagama washed off the stain of its former defilement, but not the dark memory of it. The sacred halls were never silent, and production rates became the supreme law. The glory of the Imperium was forged in the blood and sweat of its toilers, and the millstones of the manufactorums ground the workers down by the thousands. Even in death, the souls of its servants dared not step away from their machines. The enthroned Null Caliph drew millions of pilgrims and granted the planet's hallowed status. Its sacred calculation continued for centuries, and the foremost sages of the Adeptus Mechanicus traveled to the world so that they could attempt to divine its meaning. Janus was conquered, the Xenos spirits were exorcised, and the wilderness was subdued. The fields grew until they covered the entire planet, and billions of tons of provisions were harvested there. Janus had become the breadbasket of the Expanse, and to threaten it would be to condemn millions to starvation. The dark rule of the Seekers of the Forbidden was established on Janus. While terrified serfs toiled in the fields in the lofty castles, wise renegades studied the knowledge of the Xenos, learned their filthy language, and embraced their culture. The Mistborn of irrigation devices hid the evil work from the righteous. Despite grim expectations, the coexistence of humans and the Eldari did not lead to enmity. Janus had faced many trials, and the struggle against them brought the two people together. They did not develop an affection for one another, but they learned to speak with no weapons in their hands. More than one dangerous xenophile schism was born on Janus. The minds of Vivos 6 grew deeper and deeper, and soon the planet became the darkest and most frightening colony in the Expanse, the final stop for the exiled and damned. The brutal, hardened inhabitants of the Death World feared neither humans nor xenohorrors, knew no mercy, and were known as the most fearsome fighters in the sector, who had traded their lives for the right to leave the eternal darkness of the mines. Guarded luxurious palaces were built under the climate dome, shrouded by clouds of poison. They housed so many powerful blackguards, persecuted aristocrats, and wealthy scoundrels that Vivos 6 gained unimaginable political influence. Such grand and sinister deeds were done there that before long the grim Death World was spoken as the new political center of the Expanse. Thank you, Greg Chun. I appreciate you. Okay. Man, dude, this is crazy. There's so much. All right. No longer secluded and forlorn, Falstone turned into the spiritual center of the Expanse, clad in gold and power. Rulers went there to be anointed for greatness, criminals for penance, and the righteous for encouragement, and there was no end for them in sight. Treasures and influence quickly corrupted the supreme hierarchs of Falstone, turning them into a coterie of venal egotists anointed by greed. As they did dirty deeds under the cover of holy vestments, their power steadily grew. It is hardly surprising that a few years later, the hierarchical Faustone recognized a bloody relationship between their patrons, the Von Valenius dynasty, and Saint Coghnatius himself. The fate of the pure-voiced prophet, guardian of the hallowed crucible, was a sad one. After visiting 7 worlds and bestowing the blessings of transformation upon them, he perished at the hands of bloodthirsty Drukhari pirates along with his retinue and the priceless relic. After recovering from Korda's regime, Footfall reclaimed its status as a trading hub of the Expanse. Having learned a bitter lesson, Vladimir Tokara created the Footfall Partisans Militia. Okay. Changes that the Von Valenius dynasty brought to Footfall endured in the station long after. Poorhouses opened by the order of the Rogue Trader saved many hungry and homeless from death. Unfortunately, this disrupted the station's delicate ecosystem. No longer freezing to death in empty compartments or tormented by epidemics, those who lived in poverty of Footfall began to choke the station, leading to a sharp rise in crime. Organ traders, illegal augmetic specialists, and savage gangs of Anvers proliferated. The Rakad system turned into a purulent wound of corruption, poisoning the Expanse. The surreal energies of the yawning warp legion held its planets together even in the absence of gravitational pull of the star, defying the very laws of existence. Immense depravity took root on Rykad Minoris, and it poured into other systems with vile glee. The people of Rykad Minoris, saved by the Rogue Trader, eventually found a new home. The colony of New Rykad was found at the edge of the Von Valenius Demesne. For a short time, the world was a place of equality, as there were almost no aristocrats left to enforce any kind of hierarchy, but within a generation, everything had returned to business as usual. Yesterday's serfs assumed the burdens of authority with pleasure, as well as the right to mistreat those of lower rank. In memory of this world and all who perished on its surface, or met a fate worse than death, construction began in the orbital slipways of Footfall of a glorious cathedral ship to be called Rykad's Sacrifice. The miraculous fusion reactor powered its engines and cannons, fueling them with the fierce power of the motive force. That's the one we saved. With the fall of their unholy patron, the edge of daybreak, the cult of the Final Dawn perished as well. Every cell of the cult was hunted down and eliminated. Rumors that some worshippers of the ruinous power had managed to get away, hiding the writings of their warp-banished lore under their robes, were baseless. Left without a mission or a leader, the Word-Bearers retreated to the depths of the Immaterium. Their last act of vengeance was a bloody assault on Footfall. The populace of several asteroids was exterminated or enslaved, and the statue of the God Emperor was badly damaged. Oh, okay. Rumors of the rotting remains of an Eldari craft world spread around the Expanse. Explorators, privateers, Kasbalika agents, and anyone hungry for easy money all rushed to frontier systems to vie for a piece of the prize. Some were swallowed by the warp, while others perished in skirmishes with their rivals. The most skilled and fortunate returned empty-handed after decades of searching. The colossal ship, as big as an imperial world, simply vanished, as it had never existed, but the legends of the forbidden treasure lived on and continued to bring daring souls to ruin. Half a century later, the Expanse trembled to the echo of the Eldari war songs. Myriad war bands appeared out of nowhere, leaving a trail of bodies in their wake before disappearing into webway gates, masterfully hidden from the eyes of Monkey. The children of Asurian had come to avenge the death of the craft world Krudarok. Their woeful retribution lasted many decades until both races were war-worn and out of blood to spill. Janus was among the world hit by the savage retribution of the Xenos, but before the great slaughter could make the planet's irrigation canals run red with blood, the Farseer Moiran emerged from the forest to address the Avengers. Having convinced his kin to stay their hand, he and his people departed Janus. Oh, wow. The spirit monolith purified by the Harlequin troop on the Crone world was hidden from the insatiable eyes of the Monkey by raging warp storms. Ships started going missing more frequently in the system close to the planet. Even the most courageous captains gave the region a wide berth, and it was named the Damned Reefs. Dude, we haven't even gotten to like half of our party. How long is this? There's so much. We haven't even gotten to our party members yet. Somewhere on the underside of reality lay Kamara, woven from manifolds from other dimensions and illuminated as always with the light of stolen suns. Its street ever filled with screams and agony. Any misfortune experienced in the Dark City became another scar on its appalling face. I mean, this is the definition of a tapestry ending, though. This is the best kind of ending for games like this. As long as pain pulsed and its blood-soaked spires, the insatiable and unshakable Kamara continued its fight through the webway along with the unchanging ruler, the leader of the Cabal and the Black Arts, the most dangerous of all Drukhari, Astrubale Vect. Hey, girl. The fall of the Cabal of Reaving Tempest united Kamara for a brief and bloody moment. The elites of the Dark City and their squabbles aside found a new game in tearing apart Dominion of Archon Emerus. The fate of the Reaving Tempest reminded the other Cabals that nothing lasts forever in the Dark City. Even the Necron system behind, the Star God vengefully obliterated every tomb world on the ancient Xenos race. The old hatred of the Satan, betrayed by their deathless servants, whispered inside him. Ooh. The voice of Voxmaster Vigdis Suri Atta of the Ptolemon dynasty has long resounded in the Expanse, bringing hope and trumpeting the arrival of the merciful rogue trader. Known for her wisdom and acute understanding of the ship's systems, over her long life, she taught many generations of future Voxmasters from the Ptolemon dynasty. Her body was built into the bridge itself, and in times of needs, her voice flowed through the Vox, dispelling delusions and despair. Wow. They built her body into the bridge. Thanks to Lord Captain's influence, Adira and Vigdis became close once again, mending their sundered friendship. They were often seen talking at the card table over glasses of Amasek. The pale cheeks of the Voxmaster would brighten with color after each such encounter, a sight rare as a void kraken. Enjoying those precious moments, the good friends tried not to dwell on how long either of them had left. Oh, man. After years of dedicated service, Master Helmsman Ravor was granted, despite his objections, the privilege of rest. The wise servant of the Omnissiah implanted an augmetic into his brain that restored his ability to sleep. Soon afterwards, something unprecedented happened aboard the ship. The Master Helmsman overslept and missed the start of his watch, but his temper did become much more agreeable from then on. Many years later, High Factorium Janus Danrock sought permission to retire. He said that age had softened his heart and the more worthy young and assertive successor should take over his position. There was no shortage of candidates. Under all that fat, Danrock had a sentimental heart. He spared nothing for the orphans of those who had died serving the rogue trader. The children were given an excellent education, were eager to serve the von Valancius dynasty. Urban Drivestem cared more about preserving the influence of his line than the well-being of the Protectorate. His blind ambition lost him his governor's seat and the respect of his family. Within a few generations, one of the largest houses of Dargonis turned into an obscure family of petty aristocrats. Gaprak missed the moment when her family, which had previously functioned like a well-oiled machine, started to fall apart, racked by infighting. Among her distant relatives, many blamed Toriana for the Gamma disaster. Soon the Gaprak family splintered into warring factions and spent centuries locked in a violent struggle, only occasionally punctured by futile attempts to reunite the house. Or stuff about Sourback. And I can't believe we're getting, like, full endings on totally minor characters. Regina Sourback, sugar-tongued loyalty to the rogue trader prompted many crude rumors. The gossip stopped one day when the Sourback's cold bodies were found in their bedroom. Oh. Members of House Warsurian served the dynasty faithfully and loyally, amassing more and more power. A century later, they had finally gained the respect enjoyed by other noble houses. Power and luxury can dull any blade. The now pampered and idle aristocrats were scarcely recognizable as the descendants of the formidable Seneschal Warsurian. Oh. For reasons unknown, members of the Warsurian family found themselves time and time again as targets of assassinations, victims of unpredictable riots and the focus of palace intrigue. The misfortune that plagued their house suddenly stopped when Regina Sourback met her end. Interesting. Clementia Warsurian, daughter of Abelard and Chancellor of Dargonis, executed her duties irreproachably and even found time to school the younger generations of her family. She was an equally skilled mentor, chancellor, political operative. After a century of immaculate service, she surprised everyone by leaving her position and becoming the first mate on a trade ship. She would later admit, like a true Warsurian, that she had always a passion for ships and void-faring. Branches of House Gaprak and Warsurian became intertwined for a time after the marriage of Astartia and Vincent. The great sadness of the couple and the great amusement of the spiteful Dargonis nobility, their marriage produced no children. Just like her ancestors, Astaria Warsurian Gaprak dedicated her life to service. Vincent lived in his wife's shadow, and the time came he passed away without notice. The Harlequin known as Nocturne of Oblivion visited the Expanse once again. Sneaking onto Dargonis, he came to the Rogue Trader's palace and left him a special gift, a case of Eldari crafting, unmistakably ancient and precious, adorned with a rune of an eye inside a triangle. The Illuminati. Only the Lord Captain knew what it contained. The Harlequin candidly warned him there was a drawing the von Valancius dynasty to a deadly dance, a shaking doom, that all will freeze within the threads of terror's loom. And then he promptly departed, not without reason. A few hours later, assassins from the Dark City appeared, following his trail, and were mercilessly killed. Their armor bore the signs of the Cabal, the Black Heart. After months of searching, Dargonis wardens found the remains of Achilles Scalander on the lowest levels of the Hive. Drukhari artifacts and records discovered beside them indicated the agent of the Inquisition had been compromised and working with the Xenos. We knew that. Skatov witnessed on footfall traumatized him forever. His architectural genius was shattered. Only the rare collections of true connoisseurs held within. Oh, that's the guy that we ran around the station with and collected all this stuff. Having completed his last journey with the Lord Captain, Abelard Warsurian, and the gracious permission of the Rogue Trader, left his post as Seneschal and took over the helm of his large family. House Warsurian rose above his rivals and was never again the target of persecution, even after their esteemed patriarch died decades later in his bed, surrounded by his grieving loved ones. Abelard's shining memory was blighted only by rumors of a creeping madness in the twilight of his life. Many said they had seen the esteemed Seneschal talking to someone unseen. Oh, that was like when he got old in Comora. What a bro. Sister Argenta made no secret of the great respect and gratitude she felt towards the Lord Captain, yet duty compelled her to leave the von Valancius retinue. With the blessing of the Ecclesiarchy, she founded a minor order of the Adeptus Sororitas, the Order of the One Star. United around the keeper of the sacred relic, its sisters protected the faithful from the dangers still lurking in the expanse. The wider order and its courageous founder very quickly became the heroes of legend, instilling hope and inspiration in the hearts of Terra's faithful children. Yet the conflict between the Imperium and the head of the von Valancius dynasty could not but affect the young order. Some sisters demanded that Argenta denounced her former commander. And able to choose between the order she had created and the person with whom she could not have completed her journey, she stepped down from her position and went into exile. Despite everything, love for her among her people in the Expanse only grew. Argenta would be the heroine of songs and tales for centuries to come. A radiant angel who would appear in the darkest hour to protect innocence from the forces of darkness. GG. I feel like that's a great, even though she kind of went into exile, I feel like it's a great ending for her. Yeah. That's awesome. Good for her, dude. Enjoying the privileges of the Mercantum Tabula Officiae, Jay Hadari found her way into the heart of the Expanse's underworld. She became known as the Baroness of Shadows. Having amassed so much wealth and influence, she came to control the economic fate of the sector. Even those powerful figures in the Expanse were forced to reckon with her, reckon with and despise her. For a long time, Jay was able to thwart the attempts on her life until one day she disappeared, but many continued to believe that she still rules the Expanse from the shadows even deeper than before. Heinrich von Calix, the former interrogator of the Order of Xenos, took the mantle of the Lord Inquisitor. Oh, man. Receiving both the Inquisitor's rosette and the duty of defending the sector from the enemies of humanity, von Calix became the new warden of the Coronis Expanse. He declared a relentless war against the enemies of humanity, be they Xenos, servants of chaos, or heretics in the Imperium's own ranks. The Inquisitor fearlessly eliminated numerous nests of corruption from the Expanse. A few days later, there was an attempt on his life by a criminal cartel. Some say he survived only thanks to an old acquaintance from within the Casbalica mission who warned the Inquisitor of the coming attack. Oh, man. In her journey with the rogue trader, Cassia Orselio experienced all the hardships and delights of the galaxy. The invaluable experience and new knowledge helped her finally conquer her fears and accept herself and her powers. Lady Navigator became Novator of her house, tasked with addressing the consequences of Tisiphane's rule and the chaos that followed her disappearance. For the duration of her reign, she patiently worked on untying the feuding branch of the house, forging alliances, and expanding the influence of House Orselio. The Starway Atlas, which contained the memories of the Tisiphone and Catholic land, lost its power. House Orselio's navigators once again had to rely on skill alone in the depths of the Immaterium. Many lost their lives, but those who survived the crisis became hardened veterans and pillars of the house. Most of those fortunate souls were young and brave, a few among them old and wise. Despite scandalous rumors about a love affair with the rogue trader, Lady Navigator Cassie continued to accompany her lover among the stars of the Expanse for a time. Her love was delicate and selfless. The Lord Captain and Lady Navigator wordlessly understood and accepted each other's feelings. Even after Cassie ascended the throne as a Novator, she spurned all claims on her hand and heart, remaining loyal to her first and only love. As the years passed, mutations transformed her body, but the bond between the Lord Captain and Lady Navigator endured. They continued to find solace and consolation in each other. Aww. Idira Talas lived several more years after the Rogue Trader's grand campaign on Epitaph. Despite her short life, she left behind many legends and tales of her adventures in the Lord Captain's service and of the terrible warp phenomenon that she manifested. Shortly before her death, Idira vanished from her post. Jay disappeared with her. When Jay returned many cycles later, she declared that Idira's last days had been full of joy and adventure, and that her greatest pleasure had been watching the Void Whales play. In announcing the discontinuing of the cycle, the Armanet Collective instilled terror in the hearts of those who revered the theorems of purity, but it gave hope to others. After gathering its disciples and recruiting servo-soldiers from vassal planets, it ventured into the worlds of the Screaming Vortex and the infernal forges of the Dark Mechanicus. This march of reindoctrination was meant to seize the stolen secrets of the Omnissiah from the hands of the heretics, temper the cult in the fires of battle, and transform it into a tool for both eradication and comprehension. The fleet disappeared in the darkness, and only rare echoes of its astropathic message were ever intercepted. The unit Abel Hahnemann continued his service to the Armat Collective. In unity with the 5 companion minds, he rediscovered the joy of direct cognitive communication unmarred by inborn otherness. While outwardly silent, he joyfully described the images, concepts, and ideas that the Omnissiah revealed to him. Fulfilling his function, he overflowed with the exultation of efficiency. You know what? If he's happy, I'm happy. Juliette Lavius lost her faith in her kin, who had followed the blind farseer like obedient cattle. She accompanied the rogue trader for a time, but her time among the Monkey had only made her feel more alone, revealing to her that humans were as bereft of strong spirit as the will of the children of Asurian. She disappeared and reappeared again in the Expanse many years later as a leader of a fleet of Eldari corsairs, fearsome in battle and well-versed in the tactics of the Imperium. Oh, whoa. Wait, didn't the Eldari come back and, like, kill a bunch of people? Whoops. Huh. Whoops. After joining the Stormbiters, Ulfar Thunderlung soon became the pack leader, taking the place of Thorvald, who met an honorable end. The new leader sent a message to Fenris stating his intention to remain in the Expanse. There were too many enemies yet lurking in these hunting grounds that deserved the Allfather's wrath. Legends paved the formidable path in gold. Years later, Ulfar found a battle in which he could meet his honorable death, but the warp was suddenly torn asunder, and ships from Fenris bearing the mark of the Wolfhead came to his aid. Saved from the battlefield by his loyal companions, Halbrant, Ulfar accepted the honors of the Dreadnought and was entombed in sacred armor. Wait. Ulfar became a dreadnought? That is so badass! Oh shit! Maybe that's what the curse meant. That's not a great fate? Yeah, well, I mean, it might be for him. Oh, wait, people are saying that's not an honor for the Space Wolf. That's actually a bad ending. Oh, so I guess the issue is that he didn't get to die a valiant death. Well, I mean, I don't know, dude. Oh, wait. During the blessed ritual, he cursed and demanded to be left to his death, but his brothers merely answered with mirthful laughter. When he recovered his senses, Ulfar led his forces to the heathen stars. The Allfather had given him a new mission and a near-death vision. No one in the expanse has heard word of the Space Wolves since their departure, yet many believe that one day they will return victorious. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's weird. That's weird. I like that his brothers laughed at him while they entombed him in that thing, though. It is rumored the true cause of Thorvald Ironhide's demise was treachery. Faced with a superior enemy, the Space Wolves called on their allies for help, but a near squadron of the Cognizance fleet withdrew, defiantly broadcasting the blood debt to the Archmagos Armanaut is not forgotten. Oh, wow. Oh. Wow. Such was the echo of deeds of the rogue trader of the House von Valancius, deeds that transformed the Coronis Expanse and prepared it for events even darker and more violent. But those are the events of a different story. This one has come to an end. Oh, man. Woo!
Applause, if you please.
What a freaking game. What a freaking game. Unbelievable. That was so good. Is this the first finished game for Cohh? This is the first time I've beaten this game. Yep. Yep. How long did it take to complete it? It took me 120-ish hours. My name shouldn't be in here. I didn't do anything. Not in here. Yeah. That was super cool, man. Oh, maybe a backer, if they have like a backer section. I think we did some like back in the day, some backing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was so good, dude. That was so good. Oh man. Unbelievably fun. Look at all these. They even listed every one of the choir people. That's classy. I like it. Yeah, we're gonna let the credits play out for sure. Oh, look, it's a special thanks. Is this the this might be the backers from earlier. Wow, look at all these people, dude. I love it. Hey, there he is. How cool. From back in the day. That's great. That's great. Oh, man. Badass. That was nice of them. Look at all these people. Dude's name is Dee Dee. Hey, is that you, Dee Dee? Oh, look, it's Dee Dee. Oh, Dee Dee. Cool. What's up? What is this? I don't think we ever get to this part in the intro. Dude, that's great. Wow. Look at all the people that call themselves Lord Captain. There's like 50 of them. I love it. I love it. So many backers, dude. So many backers. Speaks highly of the product. Saying a lot of people believe in it. It's cool, man. So what conviction is the arrogant rich guy captain supposed to represent? I think none of them. So I think the way that it worked is, I think the player, whatever the player is one, and then two of them are the opposite lines of thinking, and the last one is like no lines of thinking. So I think he's like instead, like, you can kind of think as heresy as, you know, pledging yourself to to chaos, dogmatic pledging yourself to religion and the emperor, and iconoclast devoting yourself to the people and everything and the people and doing good. And then the last person is like devoting to yourself. So where the three different lines, dogma, iconoclast, and heresy, are kind of looking outward, the last guy is looking inward. He's just, oh, these are the backers.
Nani?
Wait, what? So wait, what was the special thanks thing? Maybe those were like, I don't even know what that was. Oh, maybe there's tier 2. Yeah, maybe different tiers. Oh, one was special thanks and one was backers. Okay. Cool. I see. We're going all the way to the end. Yeah, we're going all the way to the end, chat. This is happening. Mm-mm. Okay. Peter Shifty S. I like it. That is so many people. Or did we just like forget about the whole alpha? Oh, there we go. Thank you for playing Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. Oh man, what a ride. What a freaking ride. That was great. I hope Owlcat makes more 40K games. Me too. Me too. That was awesome. All right. Make it happen.